Hi guys, today we're going to study adjectives that compare in our grammar class. You often use adjectives in order to compare two or more things or people or ideas. You can use the comparative form when you're comparing two things and you form the comparative by adding ER at the end of most of the one syllable or two syllable adjectives. Or you can use the superlative form of an adjective to compare more than two things. You usually form this superlative by adding EST at the end of the adjective. Let's see some examples. An example of the comparative form, it would be this sentence. The lion is heavier than the zebra. Okay, you are comparing the lion to the zebra. So you use ER at the end, and heavy, which was the original adjective that ended in Y, you change that Y to I, and then you add the ER. But we will see a chart on the next slide that will explain that too. An example of the superlative form, the elephant is the heaviest animal in the jungle. So in this case, you're comparing the elephant to all the animals in the jungle. So you're comparing more than two. So you use EST, the superlative form, EST. And again, since this was the adjective heavy that ended in Y, you change the Y to I, and then you add the EST. You don't leave the Y here, okay? So when you add ER or EST to form the comparative or superlative, the spelling of the adjective may change, as we have seen with heavy. So here we have the rules in this chart. Spelling changes in comparative and superlative adjectives. If the adjective ends in E, you drop the final E because you're adding another E, so you don't put two E's, you only leave one, okay? That's why we say that you drop the final E. For example, you have the adjective rare. As you see, it ends with a letter E. If you want to form the comparative, then you have to add ER, but you don't put two E's. You drop one and you leave ER only. So you have rarer. And if you're going to form the superlative, then you drop the final E and you add EST. So you have rarest. With large, another example, you drop this E and you add ER. So you have larger for the comparative. And for the superlative, you again drop the final E from large and you add EST. So you get largest as the superlative form, okay? Now, for adjectives ending in a consonant preceded by a single vowel, then you need to double the consonant. For example, flat. Flat ends on a consonant and is preceded by a single vowel, A. Then we double the T, and then we add the ER, flatter. And for the superlative, you double the consonant again, double T, and you add EST, flattest. Another example is thin. Here you have the consonant N preceded by one single vowel, which is I. So you need to double the N and add ER or EST, and you get thinner and thinnest. And for big, again, we have a consonant at the end, the G, and it's preceded by I, which is a single vowel here. So you double the G and you get bigger or biggest, if you want comparative or superlative. Now for adjectives ending in Y, that was the case of heavy that we saw on our previous slide. You have to change the Y to I and then add ER or EST. So for example, angry, you change the Y to I and add ER, you get angrier. And if you add est after changing the y to I, you get angriest. And for tiny, another example, this ends in y, you change the y to I and add er and est, and you get tinier and tiniest. So let's see some examples. Tell the comparative and superlative form of each word. The first one is cold, and here we have the guide, okay? So cold in a comparative form is colder, superlative form is coldest. For sad, you have sadder. Remember, we have here a consonant preceded by a single vowel, okay? And saddest. Nice, okay? Here we have nicer, we drop the final E and we add ER, and nicest. For busy, we have a Y, we change the Y to I and add ER and EST and get busier and busiest. And for big, we double the consonant, we get bigger and biggest. Now, use the correct comparative or superlative form of the adjective in parentheses. So we need to choose from the parentheses the right form. Leopards have spots than cheetahs, and we have darker and darkest. We're comparing leopards to cheetahs, so we use the comparative form. Leopards have darker spots than cheetahs. They climb the highest trees of all. So we are comparing the trees that they climb with all of the trees. So then we use the superlative form. They climb the highest trees of all. Number 3, lions are stronger or strongest than leopards. Again, comparing lion to leopards, we use the comparative form, so we choose stronger. Lions are stronger than leopards. Then we have number 4. Cheetahs are the faster or fastest of all the big cats. We're comparing cheetahs to all the big cats, so we use superlative. Fastest. Cheetahs are the fastest of all the big cats. Number 5. They have longer or longest tails than leopards. We're comparing them to leopards, so we use comparative. They have longer tails than leopards. Number 6, they're often swifter or swiftest than their prey. Okay, so we're comparing them to the prey, so we use comparative, swifter. And then number 7, that cub looks younger or youngest than this one. We're comparing one cub to another one, so we use comparative, younger. That cub looks younger than this one. Now we need to complete the sentence with the correct comparative or superlative form for the adjective in parentheses. For example, rhinos are some of the beasts of all, and we need to use large. So we're comparing rhinos with all the beasts, so largest. we use the superlative form. Number 9, black rhinos are the of all rhinos. We have to use rare, and we're comparing black rhinos with all rhinos. So we again use the superlative form, rarest. 10, hippos have a temper than rhinos. We're comparing hippos to rhinos, and we need to use nice. So we use the comparative form, nicer. Hippos have a nicer temper than rhinos. Number 11, irritated rhinos may become the lions. Angry is the adjective. So we're comparing rhinos to lions, so angrier, we use the comparative form. And number 12 is the calf than his mother. In this case is hungry, and we're comparing the calf to his mother, so we use the comparative form, hungrier. Number 13, the hippopotamus looks than the rhino. We're comparing the hippopotamus to the rhino. And we need to use fat, so we use fatter, the comparative form. So guys, remember, comparative form is an adjective that compares two nouns. And the superlative form of an adjective compares more than two nouns. Now remember to go into Academia, okay, and click on the link in the post, or you can download this presentation, and if you click on the link, as you see, you will get to our homework for this week, adjectives that compare. This week's homework is due May 14th, this Friday. So please get there on time so you can be sure to submit your homework this week. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next time.